If I learned one thing from the Barbie movie, is that maybe the real patriarchy is the friends we made along the way. Barbie is a fast-paced, colorful fantasy film made by a woman for women. Or was it? It is undeniable that the Barbie movie is feminist in its writing, but the portrayal of patriarchy and the female experience seems to be so simplified and used for jokes that sometimes it feels like the movie wasn't made for women, but for men. Or children. Same thing. Even the way the movie was filmed sometimes makes it feel like Ken was the protagonist over Barbie. Here are a few examples. Sorry, wrong script, wrong PowerPoint, sorry. Now here are the few examples. Number 1, sympathy is a weapon. Seeing characters suffer and going through trials and failures is a great way to create sympathy for them. In the Barbie movie, it takes about 13 minutes for Barbie to show her first emotion, whereas Ken goes through at least 5 different emotional states in just his first minute of screen time. Just to make it clear, I'm not criticizing Margot Robbie for her acting. I actually think she's doing a great job at her role, which unfortunately happens to be an emotionless doll, for the first 13 minutes of the film at least. I mean, I understand that you gotta respect the source material, but come on, we're making a movie here, not a 2-hour ad. I feel like the movie fails at making us sympathize with Barbie, at least at the beginning. Whereas Ken, in the first quarter of the film, is really likable in his own dorky, cringy, stupid way, making it feel like the movie is told from his perspective rather than Barbie's, which is a shame. This could have been easily solved if Barbie's sad thoughts were hinted at since the beginning, rather than just dumped out of nowhere when the plot needed it. Alright, let's take a break here. I feel like I'm being a bit too harsh. Before we continue, I'd just like to say that I did enjoy the film. It's a very fun watch. The actors really gave it their all, and Greta Gerwig remains one of my favorite directors ever. I just find it sad how so many girls relate so deeply to this movie when I feel like it fails at really portraying the danger of being a woman in a patriarchy. Of course, it's wonderful if the Barbie movie manages to make you feel heard and if you relate to it, but I feel like the industry needs to do better. Example number 2, subjectivity is key. Subjectivity in cinema is a term that describes all the writing, audio, visual, or editing techniques that makes it feel like the audience is experiencing the character's thoughts and emotions. Subjectivity can be used in a plethora of ways in a movie, one of them being the POV shot, which is when the camera takes the geographical position of the character in order to allow the audience to see what the character is seeing. Even the use of a first-person narrator is subjectivity, as the audience is made to hear what the character is thinking. In the Barbie movie, other than a few POV shots here and there, subjectivity is seldom used, until this scene. In this scene, it feels like the entire world of the story is bending to show Ken's perspective, with time slowing down and settings changing according to his mood. This could be considered an extreme example of emotionalizing nature, a term coined by film theorist and psychologist Hugo Musterberg, which describes the use of settings and nature to create a subjective experience. The most common example of emotionalizing nature would be when it starts raining during funeral scenes in order to externalize the character's feelings. Subjectivity is an extremely effective tool to create sympathy towards the character, as the audience is forced to experience their perspective, forcing them to really relate to the character. This is why subjectivity is often reserved to main characters. Although I love the I'm just Ken scene, I feel like it's a shame that one of the most subjective moments of the film is given to Ken. Example number 3, the role of men in the Barbie movie. One of the main criticisms of the movie that many fragile little boys seem to share is that it antagonizes men. I entirely disagree with that statement. I would go as far as saying that the movie doesn't antagonize men enough. None of the men in the Barbie movie are really bad guys, so to say. They're more like, oh, look at how silly and goofy I am. I didn't mean to enforce patriarchy, I just wanted whores. Oh, so silly. I mean, really? Us men worked so hard for patriarchy. Don't take the credit away from us. All jokes aside, I feel like the movie tries too hard to excuse all men's actions. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great thing that not all men in the movie are bigoted and sexist jerks, but I feel like we could have found a more realistic middle ground. In conclusion, Barbie is a fun movie that, in my opinion, fails to really portray the female experience, but it is definitely a good step towards making the industry more equal. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, you can leave a comment or a like and subscribe. Thank you, see you next time. It is undeniable that the booby movie, I want to watch the movie.